Team USA's U18 team's run in the FIBA event is over. They won the gold. We did takeaways from the entire week yesterday. And now I want to look a little closer at the players on this team before we close the book, as you like to say, on Team USA. There are 7 players, I believe, unless I am missing somebody. There are 7 players that were on Team USA's U18 FIBA team that have not committed to where they will play college basketball. Want to do our best to go through each of these guys and predict where we think they will play college basketball. Any questions? You down for this exercise?
I'm always down for some exercise. No Diddy.
Okay. Is that the conception on you? I feel like there's that would shock a lot of people that you're always down for some exercise.
Let's not do that.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Come on.
Darius Acuff was the best player
So
at this
that's so crazy.
What?
I'm always down for some exercise. Oh, Darius Acuff. Hey, Darius Acuff.
Darius Acuff.
Okay.
5-star, top 5 player in the class. He was the best player at this event. I thought he was a superstar. Everybody wants him. His list includes Arkansas, Kansas, Alabama, UConn, a bunch of other blue bloods as well. Kentucky, Michigan, Michigan State are on there. Rutgers is on there. St. John's is on there. Make your prediction. Where will Darius Acuff play in college?
So before the tournament, I was pretty convinced that he was going to go to Kansas. Like I felt like he was going to be Kansas. DeJuan Harris is leaving. What was his name? I think it was LeBaron Filan was a commit for them. He ended up decommitting and going to Bama, I believe it is. So, and I believe part of that was that Bill Self believed that Acuff was going to come into the fold. So Kansas was always the aforementioned leader for me, but I can't shake the fact that when I watch Acuff play, and I think he is going to be a one and done player, a one and done guard. Like, who's one coach you want to go to if you're a one and done guard? Like, is it not Coach Cal? I think the Arkansas pitch might be strong here. I think that he could have like the one and done guard type feel. Like he could have the Tyrese Maxey level freshman year, go to the league and just take the Coach Cal one and done route. Now some might say, okay, is that a Kentucky thing or is that a Cal thing? I'm more of a believer it's a Cal thing. So I think Arkansas would be my 1B second pick behind Kansas, but I think it's closer than I think.
You landed on the school I landed on. When I look at this list, I cannot shake the John Calipari guard. When I watch Darius Acuff play, I cannot shake the John Calipari guard. They have a bunch of good ones this year, but John L. Davis is going to leave. I think Boogie Flam will be a one and done. And I think that will open the door in a huge way for Darius Acuff to come be Cal's second year engine of that offense on a really, really good Arkansas team. Won't be surprised if he ends up at any of the Blue Bloods, but yeah, to me, it's Arkansas or Blue Bloods for Acuff, and I'm going to give the edge to Coach Cal. It feels like a Cal guard through and through.
Yeah, and important one too. Last thing on that, like it's important for because like the 5-stars he got last season were basically Kentucky commits. Acuff would be like, the new Arkansas regime underway. Like they still got it. I can still get these 5-star guards. I'm not, that it'd be a statement.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Trey McKenney is a Michigander who we are well familiar with. He grew up in Flint, and he was not good, in my opinion.
Yeah, he struggled big time.
He did not show. He played about the worst he could possibly play from all the film I've seen of Trey McKenney at this event. Not a great sign for him, but I don't think it's going to change the schools that want him. He has a lot of great teams on his list, including Arkansas, Alabama, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas State, Michigan, Michigan State, Ole Miss, Rutgers, Tennessee, Texas, etc. Where is your prediction for Trey McKenney?
So I was fairly disappointed with Trey McKenney's play just because I think so highly of him, and I unfortunately you got to call a spade a spade. I did think he was probably the worst player on that U18 team that played, and he did play a good amount. His list has always been very odd to me. Like he has like Georgetown on there, some other schools, and because of that, I think he's going to be a little bit different in the route that he goes. And also like him being like a 6'4", 220, basically like small forward, like he's, of his size. I know you said he looked a little bit heavier at the U18 level when he played. I feel like this ends with him going to Rutgers. For some reason, like it's gonna be a Rutgers or like he's gonna shot or like Arizona State, Georgetown. It's gonna be one of those schools, I think, that he kind of goes to. It's not like I don't want to call him lower level, but maybe like more of a surprise pick, I guess.
End up at a random one
Yeah.
after a lot of blue bloods wanted him for a while. I can't shake that he returns home somewhere. I think it really could be Michigan or Michigan State. I'm going to give the edge to Michigan State. I know you guys have been hard after him. And I think this has been my consistent answer when it's like, where do I foresee him? He just feels like a Michigan State player. This week was really bad. That's about the worst I think he can play. I thought he was Michigan State bound before I saw this week when he was really good. I don't think there's going to be a world where Tom Izzo like backs off Trey McKenney. Maybe there will be a world where other coaches do, but I don't think anybody is going to after just 1 week. So we need to
Yeah.
see if this sticks for a while. But yeah, Michigan State, I think he returns home. Nicolas Kamia, I think I'm saying that correctly. He was fine this week. He didn't have any like huge splash moments. He wasn't necessarily a featured guy. But once again, I mean, every single player on this team has massive, massive offers. He's the 38th ranked player in the country, a 4-star. Gonzaga is on him. I'd be lying to you if I said he doesn't feel like a Gonzaga big.
Greg, let me just cut you off before you even read the rest of this big. His name is Nicholas. Okay. He's a 6'8" power forward from Harvard Westlake, Studio City, California. And he's the number 38th recruit in the country. And look at his face. Like, come on. Like, I know we don't like to do this. I know people sometimes hate when we do this, but does this guy not look like he's going to play at Gonzaga?
Yeah, everything screams Gonzaga. The only thing that doesn't scream Gonzaga is that North Carolina is like the most recent school to offer him. And they're really making a heavy push right now. Hubert Davis trying to slide in. He couldn't get his portal center, so he's after a high school big.
I mean, if he grows a beard, you could be looking at Brady Manick.
You're right. You still lean Gonzaga though?
Yeah, there's no way he doesn't end up with Gonzaga. I don't see how.
All right. Jasper Johnson, I've said it over and over again. He is my favorite guard in high school basketball. Very creative, awesome player, combo guard from Link Academy. Everybody wants Jasper. Alabama, Auburn, Baylor, Kansas, and Kentucky. Those are all great programs for guards. North Carolina, Louisville, Indiana, Ohio State, Arkansas as well. USC sneaking onto that list. This is one of the recruits with not much Big Ten love on his list, which I think makes sense when you watch him. He does not play like a Big Ten basketball player, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. Where is Jasper Johnson going to go?
So I said this originally when we did our first Jasper Johnson video, and I'm a stay pat on this. I think this is going to be Mark Pope's first big win. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to get Jasper Johnson over these guys. Jasper Johnson is originally from Versailles, Kentucky, I believe. That's where he grew up before he headed out to Link Academy to go play in Missouri. But I think that I think that Kentucky gets it done on this one. I think Mark Pope gets his first big win, and they get Jasper Johnson. And I think they should too. If they don't get him, I think I would count it as a loss, to be honest with you.
You and I are so aligned today, it scares me. I have Kentucky. I think this is Pope's first huge recruiting trail win. The Kentucky kid stays home. And I think he would embrace being kind of like the featured option because that is a spin on this. Is like some recruits will be featured way more now at Kentucky than they would have been on a Cal team that has like 7 one and dones. And I could see like I don't want Jasper to get swept aside like he did with Team USA again. I don't want him to get buried because he's playing behind Darius Acuff. I think at Kentucky he would be the number one option right away, and it could work really, really well. Wow, I'm rooting for Mark Pope to land a good recruit. Shelton Henderson is next, another combo guard. He is a very talented player. His list includes Houston, Louisville, LSU, Texas, Texas Tech, TCU, Texas A&M, SMU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State. A lot of Southern schools, Big 12 and SEC here. He is actually I'm mistaken. I thought Shelton Henderson was a combo guard. Watching him on the film, he looked smaller than he actually is. He's a 6'6" small forward. When I watched him with the Team USA stuff, he kind of looked like another one of these shooting guards that mixed in. Where do you think Shelton Henderson will end up?
Yeah, so one of the 24/7 guys that I follow, shout out to Brandon Jenkins. He's a recruiting analyst. He's pretty big on Henderson, and that's kind of how I first heard about him. And he was quoted as saying this: Henderson is a physical specimen from the wing position who's arguably has the best long-term tools in the national class. So he thinks pretty highly of him. I'm a pretty big fan of Brandon Jenkins and his ball nollie, as I like to refer to it as. But he has like that kind of man-child frame with like the long arms. And his list is interesting. According to 24/7, he has Texas, Texas Tech, LSU, Louisville, and Houston. I love the Houston fit for him. I could see him fitting it really, really well into that team. I think his physical tools, his mindset, the way he plays the game. I think that Kelvin Sampson could unlock something with him. He's a Texas kid, like I said earlier. So I think this ends up with him staying in state. So I think it comes down to Houston, Texas, and I think that Houston comes out on top and ends up getting his services.
Mm, okay. Yeah, tough to beat out Houston. I feel like if you're a Texas kid that is like as tough as Shelton Henderson is. I don't have any good reason for this. This is me off like looking at his face alone and his name being Shelton Henderson. Doesn't the name Shelton Henderson scream Louisville to you?
A wee bit, yeah.
I just get big time like Pat Kelsey guy
Yeah.
vibes.
Is it okay if we do that, or are we not allowed to? Like, I don't know. Are we guys that do that? Are we plugged in enough, or we just guess, or
Oh, it's
homes?
we can do whatever we want. It's actually our show.
Oh, okay.
Mel Brown is next, 6'2" point guard, overtime elite kid. There are crystal balls for Mel Brown that say he's going to Ole Miss. Do you think that will end up being true?
Yeah, I agree with that because they have the Ole Miss formula here. I think to win this, he's at overtime elite. Ole Miss has been pretty good at being very active at overtime. Actually, it's a funny thing. I gotta find the YouTube video I saw, but like at this overtime elite game, they had like all these like influencers and all these people there, and then all of a sudden, like in the corner, out of nowhere, just hanging in the back, you see Chris Beard. And he's just like back there lurking, just looking for players. Like, yeah, I think Chris Beard finds himself comfortable in the overtime elite setting. And I think that he's despite his other whatever he does. I think he's a guy who is kind of building some positive on court momentum at Ole Miss, and getting some guys there that are kind of play like a high tempo, fun style offense. And I think that he will have the leg up and end up getting Brown services.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like all signs point to that right now. Some people are very cautious to be seriously recruiting overtime elite kids because there's a chance they just never come to college. But uh, Chris Beard, not the most cautious guy, so he'll make things happen. Final one on the list is Nate Ament. This guy was kind of buried on the Team USA team. He didn't really get much opportunity other than garbage time minutes. He's actually a really prestigious recruit, fringe 5-star. The composite on 24/7 has him as a 5-star, the 16th ranked player in the country. You go to his list, it's interesting. Duke is the big boy on the list. Creighton, Illinois, Iowa, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Maryland, George Mason and Bryant offers for Nate Ament as well. And then Kansas is sitting there, but I don't know. I don't see Kansas as a super serious option for Nate Ament here. Where do you think Nate Ament goes?
I think he ends up being a Duke player. I can see Duke. I think that Duke's been pretty heavy on him. I think the lead recruiter is Lucas on him. Lucas is pretty well renowned when it comes to recruiting and things like that. So I think he ends up being a Duke player. He plays with Team Loaded in North Carolina. He's a bit like thin, but he's a mobile, skilled forward. Like I think he would fit as being like, the Duke four man to possibly come in once Cooper Flag leaves that place. I mean, he's not Cooper Flag, but I'm saying there's going to be an open spot once Cooper Flag takes his services to the next level. I think that, he has a lot of tools that are projectable. I think that at this point, his like being fringe 5-star, at least to me and the things that I saw, are a lot of potential based. Like he flashes things certainly, but I don't think he's a guy that's put it all together yet, but like his bright future is something that I think will entice coaches. But yeah, I'd say Duke.
Feels like one of those guys that goes to Duke under the best intentions, plays 0 minutes a game as a freshman, and then transfers out because he's upset he's being recruited over, right? Like
Yeah.
that what happened to the 7 players from Duke's recruiting class last year that are all out? Like this feels right up Ament's alley.
He'll get TJ Power, Sean Stewart,
Yeah.
id. Yeah.
Feels completely up his alley. Okay, that was a fun exercise. I hope we got at least a few of those right. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.